All right. All right. Thank you, viewers. Welcome to our new, that is global media. And of course, my guest today is Michael Puli. And of course, I am Usman E. Kamara. Every other Wednesday, um, we have a program that is basically geared towards enlightening public on the issue of education and of course environment. Last week, Wednesday, we spoke to one principal, that is, of course, the Plata of St. Martin's School on the issue of education. And today we have our guest looking at the issue of nature. He's somebody that has basically has significant experience now despite the age, and we are very much grateful for the invitation. Mr. Cody, thank you so very much for joining this program.
Mr. Kama, it's a pleasure. And then thank you. And then hello to all viewers. It's been a pleasure to be here today. And then I'm quite honored to be invited on this platform today. Thank you, Mr. Kama.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Giba, Mr. Collins, beg your pardon. Please, can you take us through who is Mr. Collins, where you came from, and then, of course, this topic, everything. Tell us, please. Tell the viewers.
Thank you, Mr. Kama. I am Michael Colley, born in Karsong in the year 1991, July 2nd, 1991. Went to St. Martin Basic Cycle School. Later proceed to, after completion, went to Mindao Senior Secondary School, graduate, and then in 2010, I was enlisted in the Gambia Armed Forces, where I served about up to 8 years. And then through my Army career, I happened to go for study leave, where I went to Gambia Technical Training Institute, which is GTTI. I spent about five years there studying travel vocation. Later went to Sheikh Mahfouz Institute of Technology, where I spent 3 years studying HND in civil engineering. And then happened to join the Birdwatchers Association, which is in the Gambia, in 2013 till date. And then went to Denmark 2013 for a short course in conservation and bird bringing, and like basically. Thank you, Mr. Kama. I think that's a little of Michael. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for that brief introduction. We are really pleased.
Thank you.
Mr. Coley, let's go through on the issue of the main topic today is the bird watching adventure, and we are very glad. You earlier stated that in 2013 you joined the bird watching group and geared towards looking at issues related to nature. Your
Yes.
experience in the armed forces, which is quite very commendable. Commendable. We are very pleased with that. Now, Mr. Coley, we would like you to take us through um, the bird watching in the Gambia, your experience in the bird watching. 2013 to date is holding the case now, that experience. And we also understand from your introduction that you equally have gained some experience outside this country, which is also another significant milestone for you. Tell us what actually motivated you, or what happened, or what inspiration came that gave you the zeal and then, of course, the ambition to join the bird watching adventure. Tell us, please.
Thank you, Mr. Kama, once again. Bird watching, I didn't know much about birds initially before 2013. I wouldn't be able to tell you much about birds prior to 2013. Fortunately, I had a neighbor who happens to be calling cross. 2013, he invited me to one of their ringing activities with birds, and then He invited me to to come and have a watch, look, and then whether I'm passionate, and then see. From there, I came. I spent an hour or two with them, and then from there, and then I later became passionate about birds, and then it seems like because I know a little before that invitation, I didn't know much about birds, but after that invitation, I was a kid, kind of little bit motivated about birds, and then the a little bit history of birds, where they migrate from, where they live, what their habitats, the kind of habitat they live in, and then some of these things motivated me to go in and study some of these species, and then because there are some of these species which locally we term them to be, we associate them in one way or the other in witchcraft or so whatsoever. So at the end of the day, these are some of the things that motivated me, because I think we do some injustice to some of these species, and then yeah, that's one of these things that motivated me to be part of uh, the part of the bird watching, and then be part of to be a bird watcher in person. Yeah.
Uh, oh, thank you so very much. Now,
Yeah.
since you joined in 2013, um, tell us about this your mentor, or perhaps your employee or employer. Tell us about him. Um, did you what connections since you knew him to now? How have it been for you? It has been a whole lot of education, a whole lot of experience, or a whole lot of challenges. Tell us about your experience with him, his name, and then tell us what you really learned from. Tell us, please.
Thank you, Mr. Kama. I think I learned quite a lot about birds in person. I think at the moment I could tell you quite few of little bigger biography of some of these species, where they migrate from, where they live, the kind of habitat, the kind of, and then some of these things. I think those I will commend Colin, who invited me, who introduced me into this field, which I think without him I wouldn't have been this knowledgeable on this area or field of studies today. And then, yeah, initially in 2013, when he invited me, after all, it was just a voluntary field. It was not something that we earned anything out of it. And then we were just going and then studying some of these species. And then the challenges that we had then was like most people were not that encouraging. Even family members and some of the relatives, friends were like, this is not a field it's not an interesting field. It's not a field that one should join because there's not much income in it. There's no why should you be wasting much of your time in a field that you're not going to gain much from? So it was not an easy moment, because the family expects you to do something whereby you have to bring something in return, bring something to the family. But if that is not the case, if you're not having that, it's a kind of big challenges is kind of bit tedious for you yourself and your family at some point. Yeah. And then with Colin, who happens to be my mentor, he's a kind of person who wanted to motivate the younger generation to know about these birds, and they know brief history about the birds, because at the end of the day, at times we do some injustice to some of these species, and then one I could take example of owls, and then sometimes people to do kill some of these vultures for traditional use or some such like that. So these are the kind of things probably if he educate the younger generation, the younger ones, or the people that are young beside him, they could also go out and spread out this, educate other people in the community in the because him being a white, if he's saying he being European saying this to Africans in the Gambia, I would say in particular, people might say no because it is out of his interest. So that's the reason why. But we Gambians, if we go back to our main people, try to sensitize this kind of such kind of things. I think it's more easier for our people to understand us better than him going to the people. I think these are little I could say much about it. So thank you, Mr.
Since
Kamal.
you joined, yeah, thank you. Since you joined in 2013. how many people have calling, all right, calling your boss, I believe, have mentored to this stage? How many people have he mentored?
Yeah, currently at the observatory, at Kattenbad Observatory, we are four at the moment, which we are three boys and then one female, one lady, and then one one other, which happened to be we added to the four will be would have been five. He's not currently. He's not in town. He's not in the Gambia. He he went to. Uh, he was in Rwanda. He studied biology and then on conservation on birds, particular in Rwanda at Kigali
Okay.
University for particular 4 years. After finishing that, he went to South Africa where he did his masters. He has finished his masters this year. Who happens to be Dembo Jata. He was also once. He was also a member of Katumba's Observatory. Uh, Probably he's looking forward to of doing his PhD in conservation. And then currently we are four in the observatory here. And then yeah, I think this, if I could easily remember, these are the main people. And then we had people that we usually comes and goes. They were here, they were coming, probably they won't stay there because of the challenges there, because as I likely said, because of the family and friends at times, because it's not a field whereby you're going to gain much to go back to take back to your family. So people came and then spent a little time. They couldn't cope with the situation, probably due to the pressure on their families. So they went and then yes, because I won't count those people part of the observatory at the moment because uh, bird watching is a field whereby if you study the field, if you leave it for a longer time, you tend to forget most of the important aspect or forget the species names of the species. So uh, yeah, currently we are four in Carton and then one in currently in South Africa, just completing his masters. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Now, for you to say, you said earlier that you were many, like others came, they come and go, right? They didn't stay with you guys for long.
Yes.
Can one say now, for you to stay still, knowing that at the beginning, the money may not be forthcoming because perhaps some are so much passionate about money. So they expected that when they come, they will just bring the money to flow and that will keep. But can somebody say now, for you to stay in this field, there needs to be that passion that you should have in the field?
Yeah, I think bird watching as a whole, it has different routes. Like I could say, it has some different whereby I am an ornithologist at the moment, which is a different. It's a bit little bit different to be a bird watcher. I am more of a
Okay,
re- I'm more of a researcher in when it comes to birds than
okay,
being a bird watcher, because being a
okay,
bird watcher, there are advantages there, which are you can be a bird guide, you can like taking guides, like taking tourists, the people that might be coming from Europe or wherever, or America or
okay.
wherever in other part of Africa, that might want to go to some of these areas in the Gambia and then see particular species. You have your various charges you could make, and then you could make money. You could make quite a lot of money out of it, and then it's quite different to my area. I could do that, despite the fact that with my knowledge that I had, I am able to do that. I am quite a few. I do it sometimes. I do quite few bad guiding at times, but mainly I am kind of bit of more of a researcher than being a guide. There are people that are doing
Oh,
bad guiding full time. I do bad guiding on part time, which give me more ample time to do more of research on birds, which to know their DNA, their habitats, where they come from, how long did it take to be in the country, how long it takes those particular species to go back to wherever in Europe or America or wherever. So these are mainly area I concentrate much. And then I would also say as Cartoon Bird Observatory, we are mainly focused on the research aspect, which are especially we working with MRC, and then working with Max Planck Institute in Germany, working with Holland Foundation. I think it is in Holland, the Ringen Association in Holland, and then some of the
Okay.
universities in South Africa, Swansea University, and some of these areas. So these are some of the areas we're working on research aspect. With MRC, we're working on the with MRC, we are working on the micro resistant on vultures, which what how are vultures related to humans. So these are the research that we are working with MRC, London School of Hygiene in the Gambia, and then
Mhm.
in Holland we are working on the AV influenza which occurred maybe 2 years ago. Well, how what caused it? What are the causes? Could it be transmitted to humans? Or these are
Okay.
some of the research we are also doing.
Um, Mr. Mr. Foley,
Yeah, yeah,
on the issue of your field work, because you stated that you are more of a researcher than a
yeah,
bird watcher. At the beginning, you were, of course, a bird watcher. That was the beginning of your activity or your engagement with them. Am I right?
yeah. So
Yeah, but moving forward, with the experience that you have gathered, you are now, of course, bird researcher. Okay,
yeah,
you try to research more about birds to understand the bird, everything that is related to the bird. That's what
yeah,
you are more engaged in as far as the work is concerned.
yeah,
Now, tell us right now, what are which the birds that are very much that are popular at this moment? Do you have birds that are extinct, or you have birds tell us about the movement of the birds. Is it that they stay in one place, or is it that they go and come? What is the activities of the birds?
yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kama. I think mostly the reason why most birds instinct and then because like number of because there is a time this is a data also we collect like number of species, and then yearly we count the numbers whether it's decreasing or increasing, and then there are quite few species that we used to have in this area which we are no more having, and then there are other species that are just introducing that are coming for the first time in cartoon, or I will say in cartoon in particular because my research is more focused mainly in cartoon. It's because of mainly due to the climate change, and the other thing has to do with uh, deforestation, like people cutting down trees and stuff like that. And then currently, I would say some of the species that are declining in the Gambia, most declining, I would say vultures. The research being made out of vultures is like because of cattle rearing is being done by mainly the male dominant aspect. It's been done by male. So now because of the migration, because people economic wise, people are now leaving to Europe or wherever in the world, wherever male aspect are they are mainly living for greener pastures. Due to that, there is lack of cattle, people to rear cattle, people to go and look rear cattle. So at the end of the day, some of these cattle are dying out of because there's no one to take care of those cattle, or they not much food. There is not much food sufficient. So at the end of the day, these cattle are dying. So at the end of the day, the population of vultures decline due to that. And then the other species that are declining too is in Katong here will be uh, the black crown cranes. I can remember in the early 20s, there were quite few of cranes here. I was just quite surprised that I had this few days ago, there was a record of six black crown cranes in Katong. We have stayed in Katong here for about 10 years, and then without having recording such species again since early 20s. So these are due to the what? Due to the the frustration because people are cutting down most of the trees. I know 80 or 90% of Gambians' source of cooking is due to firewood. They cook most of their cooking is firewood. But I think these are some of the things that should be inculcated in the educational category, whereby um, if you're going to cut down these trees, instead of cutting the stem, you cut down the branches, and they leave one branch that could be the tree could easily grow. Some at some point in few years to come, it's going to grow some branches whereby you could also but few at times it's quite disheartening whereby people do cut the stem instead of the branches, and then quite of other new species that I would say we have in Katong that we had never had this white-headed lapwing, which we had it last year. I think last year was the first record in Katong, and then that was quite encouraging. I don't know, maybe due to the climate change. I wouldn't be able to tell why those species are occurring in the Gambia in Katong here. I would say they have been in northern side of the Gambia, but not the southern part. So we recorded the first one in the southern side part of the Gambia was last year, and then in Katong we had third record of uh, service wobbler, which second and third record in the Gambia. The first record was 1985, and then we had the second record in 2019. I think in 2022 we had the third record, and then looking at that also, we had the first record of a red bass strike, first record in the Gambia, which I happened to see it in the Gambia. So and then feel quite some I think at some point it's encouraging, at some point it's discouraging. So one could say, well, but I would likely say that I think so the most advantageous part is more than the disadvantageous part. So we try to see
Um,
more birds in carton than the one that we missed, I think. Thank you.
all right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Kohli. We'd like to thank our viewers, okay, and of course we have on the number background, we have Mr. Sawane taking care of the studio operations with us, our viewers in the United States, and of course in the Gambia, we are saying big thank you. And our viewers all around the world also, we are saying big thank you for joining this program. Mr. Kohli, let's look at the nature of the environment in the Gambia as far as that what is concerned. Typically, you said the environment more friendly, and you are also encouraging people to stop cutting down trees because it's the availability of the trees, the thick forest, that gives the birds the environment, so that you can have more birds because that's the attraction to the birds. Now, as far as you are concerned, or as far as your experience is concerned, and your contact is concerned, how is Khartoum different from other places of bird watching? Can you tell us that? How is Khartoum so different? Do you have other places that have more birds than Khartoum? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kamal. Once again, I would say Khartoum is quite different to some of these areas in the Gambia, some of these bird watching areas in the Gambia. I think Khartoum has, I could say, one of the most attracting area for birds because due to what? Because there is a lake in Khartoum here, which due to this the sign mining that was held in the 90s, late 90s, 98, 99 in Khartoum here. So due to that, we had a big lake in Carson here, which is usually full of during the rainy season, which attract most migrant species. So due to that, we try to see some of these species in Carton that you won't be able to see it in any part of the Gambia, which makes Carton a bit unique area for bird watching, and then a research area for birds. And then most there are some species of birds that usually there are some areas in the Gambia that you will see them, you won't see them in the Gambia because you won't see them in Katong here, sorry. And then because Katong is more of an open area, like a field of a standard water area, not a forest area. So you go to some areas where in some like Kuloro or so, where there's a big mini like forest. So you kind of see some of these species, forest species there that you're not going to see in Katong here. But when it comes to Katong, is I can say it's more of attracting area for more migrant birds, birds that are migrating from Europe, Southern Europe, Eastern Europe, or so. They usually come here for wintering season, and then they'll be in the Gambia for a couple of months, 3 4 months, and then they go back for the summer they'll go for the summer breeding for their breeding season in Europe. So here in Katong here we have most of these European species. Every time, most times, we have good records of European species.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so very much. The sea. Let's look at the sea. Has the sea been a factor, like a calling factor for the birds? The sea. You have the sea in town, and when you look at the forest covered, it's not very, it's not to that extent, all right. But does the sea has any calling for the bird?
Yeah, I think the sea has a big calling because there's the ships that usually comes from Europe sometimes. So some of these birds they usually comes along with the ship, and then currently, if as you go around Katong at the edge where you have this the fixed factory, around the fish factory, you quite see quite a lot of seabirds, like the lesser blackback gulls, the royal terns, the Caspian terns, and then sandalins, sandwich terns, and then some of these some of the European species, some of them which we are also monitoring because some of them they usually have they've been ring in Europe, so which on daily basis we usually goes and then do coloring reading to see where eventually where are they coming from, which European country, where were they ring by who, and then how long it takes them to arrive in the Gambia also, and so some, and then some of those lesser black bagos are having GPS tracker some at times with the information. When we give the information, they could easily tell how long it takes, how many days it takes, or months for the birds to be in the Gambia, and how old and stuff so like that. So I think the sea basically most of I would say uh, it's not that might not be that significant towards the 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 birds in Katong here because at the end of the day, I don't think we get to see most of these seabirds that have been migrating due to the because of the sea that we have in Katong. Because there are some areas like I would say Gunjur has the similar sea to the Katong, but I think we had quite a lot of species than Gunjur, in particular because maybe we are around the tip of the country. Maybe that might be an one could tell the reason why some of these migrant species are more attracted to Carton too because we are at the tip, so which is maybe more close to European this thing, so European countries than other areas. So most species will start in Carton here, then later spread out to other areas.
I thank you so very much, Mr. Colley. Let's look at the your experience um, leaving this country because of bad weather. Tell us when did you travel and what was your mission going out, and what are the things that you basically learned there, and of course your return to this country. How has it improved you, or what experience have you gained, or what knowledge have you actually gained that have really helped your current state in the job? Tell us when you travel, and then when you travel as well. What was the reason you travel? If it is based on education on birth, after gaining that knowledge, how has it helped you to improve your standard in the professional area of your job? Thank
Thank you, Mr. Gama. Once again, thank you. With the experience, I think with the experience that I had in Europe, which happened to be in Denmark, although it was a country whereby I was unable to speak the language, but basically the common language that we speak was English. I happen to have
Okay.
colleagues of mine that we are coming globally from people. We are coming from UK. I had colleagues that were students with me there. They were I had people from UK, people from France, likewise few from Denmark there, and then one from Singapore, and then quite and one also from Israel. So we share
Okay.
knowledge to each other, and at the end of the day, it has helped me a lot. Which I say most of the because I've been in the Gambia, most European species, I usually see them in the during the winter. I've never seen most of
Okay.
these species during the summer when they are breeding, when they have their plumage colors and the like. I haven't seen those. This has really helped me in aging most of these species because when they're here, to know how long their life expansion and then how do they live, how do they in what kind of area do they usually live in, and then how will I be able to age to see whether this bird is a young or adult? Because usually
Okay.
I only see them in the Gambia during the winter. So seeing them where they breed is in Europe, where I could see the younger ones, the young one, the chicks from the nest, and then seeing the adult ones. So that has really helped me to differentiate between the adults and the young ones. So and then some of the other stuffs that were like uh, in the how did they behave, like they're singing, how did they sing their calls, to know most of their calls, because there are some birds during the winter season they don't call, they seems to be that not active in their calls, so they are more active during, some birds are more active during the breeding season, which happened to be in the summer. So I was quite happy and then pleasant to be in Europe during that time to differentiate most of these things within the winter and then the breeding season. And then coming back to the Gambia, this has really helped me a lot. And then which personally in leadership has helped me, and then the safety of the boats, the safety whereby if perhaps sometimes we deal with catching of these birds, you're looking at the safety of the bird first, and then how you could improve in keeping this bird in safety, and then so that they will, and the scientific aspect is how to collect most of this data and relevant data, not mixing the data. But sometimes even collecting the data, even where you're collecting the data, might implicate the results of the data that you're collecting. So this has really helped me quite a lot.
I see. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Since you're coming back, since you came back from them, um, has there been any sort of like a discussion or like a training that you have conducted with your colleagues in the Gambia to give them the first-hand information that you have gathered? You mentioned you had friends that oh, you had colleagues from France, from Malaysia, from United Kingdom, which is of course in the UK, and all this, and then of course yourself from the Gambia, with the experience and knowledge that you have gathered. Were you able to share anything with your colleagues in the Gambia when you came back?
Uh, uh, Sorry, Mr. Camera, your the network was breaking a bit. I couldn't get much, but I got the little. Just grab some of what you said. The
I
experience
wish
with.
to I wish to repeat again. If
Yeah, I
you
think
mind.
if you don't mind, thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, so it was a bit windy, so I couldn't hear you much properly. Please, thank you.
No, we understand your environment because you are actually at work, so we don't understood.
Yeah.
Can I repeat now?
So if you don't mind, thank you.
Yeah, I said, see, you mentioned that you had colleagues of course, from the UK,
Yeah. So
from Singapore, Malaysia,
Singapore. Yeah.
from
So
okay, and then
yeah.
of course from Denmark itself, from France. I said, after gathering all this knowledge, when you came back to the Gambia, did you had any training with your colleagues in the Gambia with the knowledge that you gained from Denmark? Do you have any training with them to teach them about the basic things that you have learned, the knowledge that you have gained from Denmark?
So I was yeah, so Mr. Kama, thank you. I was able to do some of those things, and then I have colleagues of mine that were here, so I had the opportunity to be able to be with them and then be able to tell them, because being a leader, then I was able to take the lead here and then teaching them most of these basic things I have learned there, and then in particular, I would say the safety of the species, safety of these various birds, and then uh, the collecting of this data, relevant data, how to collect this data, and then and trapping of ways of trapping most of these species. There are different ways of trapping those species. So, and the identification of these species too, and the aging them was quite late. And then I was able to be. It was quite easy, and then a pleasant thing to share those informations with my colleagues that were here back in the observatory here.
Tell us about, please take us through. We want to know the birds, you know, some of the names of the birds that, you people have been monitoring or observing, because at Carbon Bird Observatory, you have identified many birds.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kama. I think why likely wise I'm here, I'm fortunate to see almost at the moment why I'm sitting at the moment. I am fortunate to see about maybe here. Maybe if I turn the camera, maybe if not the camera is made far, I will be able to see about 6 or 7 quite species where from where I'm sitting here. Uh, Here you will see some sport lappings. Currently from where I'm sitting, the black-headed uh, herons, the black-headed herons, and then some laughing doves. At the moment, you can see spore-winged geese. Spore-winged geese are they're into African migrants, and then this most of this, and then common sandpaper, which is they're migrants. They are not Gambian birds. They're here during the winter and the night, and then uh, whistling dog, white-faced whistling dog. They're here, and then some swallows. They're just the swallows
Okay.
and yeah, some of these
Oh,
species.
well, you have mentioned many. Well, you have
Eh?
mentioned many. I think I'm inspired. So I don't know. Is there any opportunity that you create, like, for example, at your area? I don't know what is your covered area. Okay. Do you like southern part of the, do
Yeah,
you
I think
is Gunjur, is Gunjur part of your covered zone, Siko and other coastal or in Gunjur they already have their bird observatory team. I want to understand that.
thank you, Mr. Kam. I think in Pova, I stand to be corrected, but it seems in West Africa we are the only existing and the longest bird observatory in West Africa. And then
No.
the Pova area we do research from Katong, Gunjur, up to around the North Bank. We went to the North Bank and then up to Janjambure, where and then Saruja, where we have our vulture feeding site, where we also
Okay.
monitor some of these vultures. Uh, Not the only wooded vultures, because within the west coast, within the coastal area here, we only have the wooded vultures. Whereby when you go around the northern side, around Saruja, you will be able to see the whiteback vultures, uh, white-headed vultures, lapid-faced vultures, the rupel vultures, and then Eurasian griffon vultures, and then with the whitebacks and Eurasian griffon vultures are not Gambian species. They usually come here during the winter also. With the whitebacks, sometimes they travel, according to this side, they travel about 500 miles just in a day to go for feeding, like to go and look for food, which is about uh, quite long of maybe 300 kilometers or so in a day to just go and find food. So we have we have done so much of this research. It's just our research is not entirely the Gambia. We usually have entirely the entire Gambia, and then with these white bags, and then because and the given culture, sometimes the wingspan is about 2.71 meters. So that is a bit, bit, a little bit probably taller than me. The wingspan of a vulture, and then looking at a vulture, it's been handled by three people because I don't know one cannot handle a
Wow,
vulture
wow,
because they
wow.
are quite big. So
I see.
these are some of this research that we do in the Gambia.
Um, the training. Do you have any plan in your train some youngsters interested in bird watching? Do you create any package for that, or do you have any plan for publishing? You know what? Those that are interested or youngsters that are interested, they can come forward. You give them from the field, and you have a training. Do you ever have any issue or any situation of that nature, or any opportunity for the population?
Yeah, at the moment I think yeah we are holding on to people that we have the people that are in the observatory, but still we are open to invitations to other people, especially the younger ones, because I think most because the challenges that we had we didn't we I think we have learned from those things. I think we wanted to go for the younger generation, the younger ones, so that before they grow, this knowledge will be with them, so they could be able to before because as an adult becoming an ontologist because it's quite challenging because your family expect you to bring something to to the table. So at the end of the
Mhm.
day, this is something that uh, is quite difficult. So we wanted people that to be committed instead of them not looking at the financial aspect. Although
Okay,
the financial aspect might come later, but the patience too counts. Yeah,
okay,
today I'll probably say yes. I'll quite say I have a lot of benefits through this bad watching or whatever. But the initially it was not an easy thing. So at the end of the day, uh, people must be able to understand going it, not coming because of their opportunities involved, but having the passionate to do it. And then later, the opportunities might follow too. And then this is the reason why we are kind of bit careful with who we are inviting, because at some
okay.
point there are people that might tempt to say they're in for they are interested, whilst they're only looking at the opportunity aspect. Where whilst they grab the opportunity, that's all. So I don't know they with this these are some of the things we are mainly also concerned about. So that's the reason why we're thinking of having this bird watching association or bird watching group at the schools, whereby you
Okay.
educate the young ones to know about these birds and the importance in the society. And then these will limit people in in, in doing injustice to this some of these species. So because at
Okay.
times there are species like owls, like the barn owls, which are usually residential and then they usually within homes. People usually people get in contact of such first species, and then they are always victims. They kill them or whatever they say, like, because the people are always um, we always classify owls into witchcrafty, and then they're always a victim in such circumstances. So
Okay.
in educating the young ones, I think that's going to limit our cultural ideology or thinking towards this kind of species or vultures, because in some areas it's not common in the Gambia. It happens, I think, once or twice of poisoning, uh, killing some of these vultures for your local use, like I don't know, for whatever rituals or whatever, for vultures. Like in vultures, it's not common in the Gambia, but it has once happened. But I think educating the young ones will limit such kind of issues in the Gambia.
On that, Mr. Coley, on that one, do you guys have any legal back? Like, is there any legal authority that you actually back, like one could say, the right for the birds? Okay, is there any legal backing for the birds?
So I think there are people with wildlife. There are some of these. There are some of these species. You didn't. You don't. If you are not licensed to kill some of these species, if you are killed, you can be prosecuted. You can be prosecuted in such because although sometimes the law might not be enforced though, but does not justify that the law is not there. It does not make
Yeah,
us that the law is not there. The law is there of you not killing some of these species because looking at the economic wise, we I can say maybe I stand correct, but I think most of our GDP also is coming from the tourism aspect, and then most tourists are coming to the Gambia due to what? Due to these birds, due to these nature stuffs, nature, and then some of
okay.
these even not birds, but I think nature in general. Most of like monkeys, wildlife aspect. So if we use continue killing some of these things, at the end of the day, our economics is going to go down because I don't know the visitors that we usually have in annually might decrease. At the end of the day, economic wise, might not be good for the country. So some of these species, I think people didn't know it. People are not aware of it. I think we usually meet some of these hunters trying to do it, some of these killing some of these birds or so. We try to tell them, stop. Can you please stop some of what you're doing? What and what? They think they have rights of killing some of these birds or so. When in general, they can be prosecuted, they can be sued, or they can be taken to court by killing some of these things. So there's
Oh, thank you.
I think in the constitution it's really a crime of killing some of this if you are not licensed to do so.
Okay, thank you. So far, what are you mentioned some of the challenges that you guys are facing, especially trying to control the wildlife and
Is the camera come again? Hello, Mr. Camera. Hello, Mr. Camera. Mr. Camera, are you getting me?
He's coming back. He's coming back. Okay.
Okay, I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm the one working in the background, technically. So once he's come back, I will let you know.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I really appreciate so.
Yeah, very good information. Let me
Okay.
call. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Coley, we really apologize for that. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
Before we draw the curtains, I want you to tell us about. You mentioned. I wanted to ask you the issue of your experience. Maybe you can go back a bit, Mr. Coley. You can go back a bit. You are too close
Yeah.
to the camera.
Sorry.
Yes. I was actually asking. I think my last question will be on the issue of the problems that you people do face.
Yeah.
You mentioned the family issue, which is of course one of the basic problems that you face. Is there any other problems that you face as far as bird watching is concerned?
Apart killing of the species, killing of some various birds. The other thing is, I would say, is sand mining might be also part of the challenges, the problems might we have, because with sand mining, because the way sand mining is being done is like, if you remove the topsoil at the end of the day, it's a bit, if it is a bit shallow, the water does not
Okay.
accumulate in some of these areas. At the end of the day, some of these trees are being cut down. So these are some of the challenges we have, and then cutting down of these trees will be part of it. Hunting and like hunting too will be part of the challenges, the problems that we have in here. And then basically these are most of the problems that we have. If my memory can serve me well.
Yes, thank you so very much, Mr. Collins. I will say big thank you. Give us your concluding remarks as this interview is concerned. If you have any last comments that you would like to share with us before we leave you.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara. I think basically what I wanted to plead, and then plead with everyone, and then even likewise the government. I think at some point the government should try and then introduce and then put this conservation curriculum in the uh, educational, so that I think the younger generation could be able to know about all these things, even not of birds, but about generally about animals, about nature, about everything, in ways that we can be able to protect our environment, in ways we can be able to protect our the resources that we have here as a country. And then some of these things, sometimes we do injustice to some of these species, and then because we didn't have a clue, we didn't have knowledge about those. And then because I won't blame much people, because there's not much education, there's not much knowledge about it. But if these are things that are being taught in schools, or even put in the educational this thing, but there could be clubs in schools whereby all
Okay.
souls they can be, which can be taken to schools, given the room, so that people will be able to give a little stories or explanations about this and how to protect some of these species. That would really help. And then inviting, and then if also the educational aspect, let's go to the university. If they can also introduce conservational courses, conservational courses also will motivate the younger generation to study these courses, and they know about their field, they know about what is in their forest, what are the species in their forest, the kind of the kind of trees in the country. And then I think this will really help the country, really boost, because when it comes to conservational aspect in the Gambia, it's really not doing good. So I would really encourage the government to really try and then do something when it comes to the conservational side. They could easily introduce conservational courses in the University of the Gambia, which really will really help, because some of the people that want to study these conservational courses will either go to outside other countries to study it, which economic wise, if you don't have a scholarship, it's going to be difficult to be able to study some of these courses. So I will plead with the government, or whatever the uh, stakeholders, if they could be able to look into these matters, will really help the Gambia in general. Thank you. This is my last comment. If you have anything, any question, Mr. Camera, and then it's quite really a pleasure to be here and then share my little knowledge about birds and then conservation in general.
Well, thank you so very much, Michael Colley.
Yeah.
Viewers, that was Mike Colley, my guest today on the issue of bird watching, and of course, he has been there since 2013. Quite a lot of experience for him, and it was a pleasure, basically, Michael Colley, for accepting our invitation to share
Same
with us
pleasure.
your experience. Our, of course, Mr. Sawanen in the studio. Thank you so very much for the technical support. Our viewers in the Gambia and, of course, outside the Gambia, we are also saying big thank you for joining me. So, of course, that is the Enlightenment Show with me, Usman E. Kamara. And, of course, I will come back here, inshallah, next week on Wednesday to have another guest, which will be looking at perhaps education or basically on environment once again. Once again, Mr. Colley, we are saying big thank you. And of course, once again, our viewers, thank you so very much for patiently joining us despite some of the technicalities. But we still, it was a pleasure from the start to the end of this show. Mr. Sawane, thank you once again. And of course, from me, Usman E. Kamara, we are saying big thank you. And that, of course, bring us to the closing of this program till next week on Wednesday. Thank you so
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.